In a city that never sleeps, somewhere between the glass towers and the endless neon, there stood an old emergency stairwell at the back of a condemned skyscraper. Everyone called it simply the staircase. It was made of cold iron, painted 100 times, and it ran 43 stories straight down to the street like a tired spine. The building had been empty for years, but the staircase refused to rest away. It remembered every footstep that had ever trusted it: workers fleeing fire, lovers sneaking cigarettes, janitors carrying dreams heavier than buckets. One winter night, the river that curled around the city broke its banks. Not slowly, not kindly. It simply decided to take everything back. Sirens screamed, bridges collapsed. The water rose so fast that helicopters couldn't land. They said the flood would be biblical. On the 43rd floor, inside the abandoned penthouse, lived an elephant. His name was Han. He had been part of a traveling circus decades ago, then a zoo, then forgotten when the money ran out. When the building was sealed, the keepers left him behind with a lifetime supply of hay and a promise that never came. Han grew old among broken chandeliers and shattered marble. He never tried to escape. The only way down was the iron staircase, and no elephant, even a young one, could walk those narrow steps. But that night, as the water roared into the lobby far below and began climbing floor by floor, Han heard the staircase scream. Metal shrieked, bolts popped like gunshots. The flood was carrying the entire stairwell from its moorings, trying to rip the building's backbone out. Han lumbered to the top landing. The doorway was barely wide enough for his shoulders. Water already lapped at the 30th floor. He did the only thing he could think of. He lowered his head, pressed his forehead against the topmost railing, and pushed downward with every ounce of ancient weight he still carried. His ears spread like sails, his trunk curled tight against his chest. The staircase groaned under the pressure, but for the first time in its life, it did not bend alone. Han became the living keystone. The flood kept rising. It smashed windows, swallowed cars, howled through corridors. On the news, drones flew overhead and caught a single impossible image: an elephant on the roof edge of a dying tower holding an iron staircase in place with nothing but his body and stubbornness. Days passed, the water reached the 38th floor and stopped, as if even the river grew tired of fighting something that refused to fall. When the rescue teams finally arrived by helicopter, they found the building cracked and leaning, but still standing. The staircase was twisted, scarred, half torn from the walls, yet every critical bolt had held. And at the very top, exhausted, legs trembling, trunk hanging like a broken rope, Han was still pushing. They airlifted him out on the largest sling ever made, and as the cables lifted him into the sky, the old elephant looked down once at the iron spine that had carried generations of humans to safety. The staircase creaked, almost a farewell. Years later, when they rebuilt the city and turned the ruined tower into a memorial, they left the staircase exactly as it was: bent, rusted, impossible. And welded to the top railing, where no one could ever remove it, was a single gray hair as thick as a ship's cable. The city still tells the story. When storms come now and the new river walls tremble, people look up at the twisted iron and whisper the same thing: as long as someone is willing to stand in the dark and hold the way open, even the smallest path can carry the world to safety. And high above, in whichever quiet sanctuary they gave him, an old elephant sleeps with one ear turned toward the city, still listening for the sound of metal beginning to scream.